Hello guys, welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to consider the security mindset. That is how a security professional should think. It's going to be something enlightening and exciting. So let's get into it. The first thing we'll talk about is security mindset. So what is a security mindset? A security mindset is a way of thinking and not a tool. It is focused on prevention, not reaction. That means that it is focused on being proactive and not reactive. It assumes things can go wrong, so you always prepare for anything. It always asks, what if? What if this happens? What if this goes wrong? That is a security mindset. The next thing we'll now consider is why the mindset matters more than tools. It matters because tools change, but mindset stays. The moment you've developed a mindset, it will help you in using the tools, even though the tools are evolving, but the mindset remains there. Another thing is that tools can fail or be bypassed, but you see the mindset, it remains there forever. Mindset guides decisions. It really helps you make informed decisions. And lastly, good security starts with thinking correctly. The moment you're able to figure things out in your thought process, then design and implementation will be so easy. Now, let us consider how most people think about technology. Some people's thoughts are, if it works, then it is fine. But is it like that in security? No. Some people say, if nothing bad happened yet, then it is safe. What about when something bad would eventually happen? Will it still be safe by then? That's a big question. Another one is security is someone else's job. No, it is everybody's job. And the last one says convenience comes first. No, it shouldn't be convenience that comes first. It should be security. Despite the fact that we can balance security with business goals, objectives, usability, and user experience, yet we must still be able to ensure that security comes first. Now, let us look at how security professionals should think. The first thing is you must be able to ask yourself what could go wrong. You must always ask yourself this. What's the worst case scenario? What's the worst thing that can happen? Another one is what happens if this fails? If this system or tool fails, what would happen? Then the next one is what happens if this is abused? If this is used beyond the way it should be used, or if it is used wrongly, what will happen? And last one, what is the impact if this breaks? That means that you need to be able to think of the impact, not just the likelihood. The likelihood is, will it happen? But the impact is, if it happens, how severe will this thing be? Another thing I would like to talk about is the assume breach mentality. So, as a security professional, you must always assume that attackers exist. Yes, no matter how small you are, no matter how small your organization or your business is, always think that attackers exist. And the next one is always assume systems can fail. Anything can fail. Nothing is 100% secure. Also, assume mistakes can happen. And lastly, design with failure in mind. Always have this thought that what do we fall back on? Now, let's talk about thinking in assets and risk because in cybersecurity, majorly what we are securing are the assets. So, let us consider how we should think in both assets and in risk. The first thing is that we must be able to identify what is valuable, know what is valuable within your organization. The second thing is identify what can harm it. Know the things that can harm what you have seen to be valuable. The next one is identify where it is weak. And lastly, prioritize protection. Don't just identify, prioritize protection. Ensure that you protect these valuable assets that you have seen and detected within your organization. Now, there's another thinking which we call least privilege thinking. This privilege thinking is about not giving more access than what is needed. We are not giving you access beyond what you need. That is what we call least privilege. Another thing is that in least privilege, access should match responsibility. This is very important. What you are giving access to should match what your role in the organization is. Then the next thing is fewer permissions means less damage. The next one is that least privilege will always limit the impact of mistakes because you're only giving them access to what they need. Now, let's consider another thinking which we call defense in depth. Defense in depth is saying that do not rely on one control. It's trying to say that use multiple layers of protection, and if one layer fails, others pick it up. And this particular thinking, or should I say this strategy, is common in strong security designs. In fact, not almost, all organizations leverage this strategy. Now, we must talk about this. Humans are part of the system. It is very important because people make mistakes, people get tired or distracted, attackers target people, and security must account for human behavior. In fact, people are emotional. Your system, your firewall, nobody can ask your firewall out, or nobody can say sweet words to your firewall or to your IDS or your IPS, and then it will give them access. But humans have emotions. You can just tell them something, send them something attractive, and then before you know it, they've clicked on a link or they've disclosed a particular data they shouldn't disclose. So every organization that is going to succeed in terms of security must take humans within the organization seriously. They must train them and they must ensure that they are security aware and security conscious. Now, what are the trade-offs that we have in cybersecurity? The first one is decisions must be very intentional. The next one says security versus convenience. Yeah, the fact that something is convenient does not mean it shouldn't be secure. And the fact that something is secure does not mean it shouldn't be convenient for people. Not that we are going to eliminate one completely. We just need to ensure that there's a balance. The next one is cost versus protection. You need to be able to balance the two. The fact that you'd want to secure an organization does not mean you should start using tools or investing in strategies you know that the organization cannot afford. And lastly, speed versus control. Sometimes we want something to be extremely fast, and sometimes we really want to control it. So we need to ensure that there's a balance between the two. Now, security is something continuous. It's not a one-time thing. It is something you have to continually do. Also, threats evolve. The threats of yesterday are different from the threats of today. So that means that as threats evolve, security should evolve too. Systems as well change. The systems we are using 10 years ago are not what we are using today. So systems change. And since systems change, security must evolve as well. Security must change. Security must advance. And lastly, security must adapt. Security must not be stagnant. It must not be a one-time thing. It has to adapt. Now let's take a look at a simple everyday example. When you lock your door, it doesn't mean that you are scared, right? It means that you are aware. You are aware that someone might come in to steal what belongs to you or to do something to your property. So digital security works that same way too, which means that you are not doing something because you are scared. You are just trying to do all of these things to build some small habits that can reduce big risks. Now let's summarize what we've learned in this lesson. The first one is that security starts with mindset. The second one is thinking matters more than tools. Also, assumptions reduce blind spots, and good security is always intentional. Now, let's test ourselves. The question is, what best describes a security mindset according to our lesson? Pause the video, pick an answer, drop your answer in the comments, and play the video back. Now, what's your answer? The correct answer is C. A way of thinking that assumes failure is possible, focuses on prevention, and considers risk and impact before problems occur. That's all for this lesson. And if you've enjoyed this lesson and you're here to subscribe to our channel, please try to subscribe now. See you in the next lesson. Thank you.